rendering of the day at Citi Field. Children, flowers,
summer,
and ultimately baseball.
Yes.
I thought that was quite well done.
I thought so too.
Here's your upcoming schedule.
Every now and again, the truck does something right.
Brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealer. As you see, this is on that far right there, 15. That's the last day before the All-Star break. That means the All-Star break starts, well, sometime later this afternoon, maybe about 45 minutes later than it was supposed to, because we've had a bit of weather. Oh, by the way, this is Keith. I know you haven't seen him so far today. I just thought I'd like to reintroduce him if you haven't been following his Twitter feed this morning or anything else like that.
I just felt I was a little overexposed, so I let you take over.
That was very lovely of you. Sell any books?
Possibly.
Okay.
There's books down in the what's it called down there?
The Team Store?
Team Store,
The
yes.
Team Store.
The Jackie Robinson Promenade, whatever you want to
Rotunda.
call it. Rotunda.
It's been the 10th year of the ballpark, folks.
This has been a long first half, and not because of how it's come about. We've played more games, so Gary and I are really ready. I'm sure everybody's ready for 4 days off. Recharge our batteries.
Well, in game number 94 of the season today, the last one that I mentioned before the All-Star break, Corey Oswalt will be pitching for the Mets, and Oswalt comes off his best appearance as a big leaguer his last time out against the Phillies.
Yeah, and the numbers, 3 runs in that 6 innings. He only gave up 1 hit, and that 1 hit was death to him. It was the opposite field triple by the starting pitcher for the Phillies that scored the 3 runs. The bases were loaded. The walks are what hurt him, but I thought it was his best start of the year. Look he's been thrown into the water here, and he's getting an opportunity to play in the big leagues.
I thought it was very interesting in Mickey Callaway's pregame press conference today when he laid out his rotation for the series against the Yankees starting over the weekend, and he said it was going to be Syndergaard and Matz and DeGrom. Jason Vargas made his second rehab start last night for Brooklyn, pitched fine, and Mickey was asked, so how does Vargas slot in? And Mickey was very vague, as if to say that, well, maybe Vargas doesn't slot into the rotation. Maybe Corey Oswalt has a chance to keep that spot in the rotation. So it'll be interesting to see how Corey fares today, with maybe a chance to get himself some more work down the road.
Well, he's certainly getting the opportunity where there's a season that's been kind of washed away a little bit. It opens the door for younger players to come up and show their wares. And there's your opportunity right here. It's a big start for Corey.
Meanwhile, Jeremy Hellickson will go for the Nationals. Hellickson's made 3 starts since coming back from the disabled list for a hamstring injury. Pitched well his last time out, but the Mets traditionally have had Hellickson's number.
Well, Hellickson absolutely had a hamstring injury as the Mets take the field. He missed 5 starts in June. Former American League Rookie of the Year. Back in 2011, and a Gold Glover as well. And I got the kids out today, Gare, on a Sunday, as every day. I always love this. I think it's a very nice touch. How exciting for those young boys and girls. I mean, please, you're talking and taking a selfie with a major league player on the field. I mean, how good is that?
There's the National starting lineup, brought to you by Bob's. Everything's better with a Bob-O-Pedic. Conspicuous by their absence the last game before the All-Star break. Bryce Harper, who's going to the All-Star game, and Daniel Murphy. Murphy, understand, he's still battling back from knee surgery. Harper, Davey Martinez's explanation for not playing him today, he's got a lot on his plate the next few days.
Yes, he does, and there's the starting pitcher right there in Corey Oswalt. We had a long conversation here, Gary and I. 3 starts. The ERA, okay. He's had a couple of relief appearances. I mean, he's a guy that comes after hitters, not overpowering. And we'll take a look at your Met defense, brought to you by purplebricks.com. I love purple. Mesoraco back in the lineup. Reyes, boy, oh boy, getting a lot of playing time. He's at third base today. Wilmer getting to play every day now, too, with all the injuries in the outfield because of injury. Batista's getting a lot of playing time as well.
Barney, you love Barney.
Yes.
And he loves you too. Good news is there are not supposed to be any more rain the rest of the day. Whatever showers there were, and they were brief, have passed through the area. And so Corey Oswald's about set to go. Mets are trying to win a series for the first time since the middle of May. They have not won any of their last 15 series, lost 11, split 4. They've taken 2 of the first 3 in this series from the Nats, who start play today a game under 500 and now 6.5 games out of first place, and they are really scuffling right now heading into the break. Adam Eaton leads things off for Washington. Eaton's had a good series, going 5 for 9, has his average up to 333. Oswald's first pitch of the day is a little bit high, and we're underway. Eaton, Turner, and Soto for the Nationals. And Eaton skies one to shallow center field. Brandon Nimmo waiting for it to come down, and that's the first out of the day. So 1 out and nobody on. Officially a 47-minute rain delay at the start.
And it did rain a little bit.
A little bit, but nothing you couldn't have played through.
If the game had started on time, they could have played through it.
Here's Trey Turner, 2 for 10 in this series, hitting a .268 for the year. Remember that Oswald, in his last start against the Phillies, retired the first 12 batters. He was perfect through 4, lost control in the 5th, walked 3, and eventually gave up 3 runs. A little flare back to the mound, and Oswald's right on it for the second out.
That is a jam shot, and Trey Turner, who's really an energetic player. I know this pop-up's not very high, but he didn't run but a quarter of the way down the line. Look at, I mean, you just can't have this.
He didn't run at all. But
Can't
this
have
is what
it.
you were talking about the other day, right? When Bryce Harper, who is the best player on the team, doesn't run a ball out, it sets a tone for the rest of the team.
Well, when you're a top player and young players are looking up to you, it's incumbent on that player to really, through good times and bad, to be even keeled, not show, not pout, not sulk. Have to rise above and set the example. I mean, that's just the way it is.
And really what we've seen from this Nationals team over the course of 3 days and now starting the 4th, this is a team that is playing without energy at all. And you know, you can't lay it all on Harper, but
No.
it's cumulative, right?
Yes.
It filters from one to the next to the next. Juan Soto 4 for 12 in this series, and he takes a changeup up and away from Oswald. 2-1. Soto, just 19 years old, having himself a phenomenal start to his big league career. And he takes the pitch low, and Oswald's behind him 3-1. Soto's played 50 big league games and hit 9 home runs. Only 2 players who began as teenagers ever hit more in their first 50 games, Tony Conigliaro and Ken Griffey Jr. Four-year-old Corey Oswald, San Diego native, making his 4th big league start. 3-2 coming to Soto, and he pops it up right behind the bag. Flores shading his eyes, and Wilmer reels it in, and Oswald has a 1-2-3 first inning. Took him just 10 pitches to get there. Mets come to bat with no score. Devin Mesoraco behind the plate today. Otherwise, the same lineup for the Mets, who've won their last two. First time they've won back-to-back home games since the middle of May.
Well, there's Jeremy Hellickson, 2011 American League Rookie of the Year. It was 13-10 that year. That was his best season. In 2012, he won a Gold Glove, fielding excellence. He's had a hamstring problem. Missed most of June, 5 starts. And the Nationals defense brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Very interesting. Defoe and Murphy out of the lineup. I can see with the knees. It looks like he's kind of hurting a little bit. You got to sit him down. But a little surprised that Bryce Harper is not in the lineup, particularly with the All-Star break. 4 days off, sort of, for Bryce.
Well, he will be playing on Tuesday. Here's Brandon Nimmo. Nimmo 3 for 14 in this series. All 3 hits came in the Friday night game. And Hellickson's first pitch, fastball in for a strike. Nimmo has been striking out at a prodigious rate. In fact, 60 strikeouts in his last 40 games, which is the most strikeouts any Met has ever had in a 40-game span. Broke Dave Kingman's record.
And that's not good. Obviously, for a table setter, and I'm hopeful that Nimmo has hit 13 home runs this year, and he's starting. I hope that hasn't gotten into the back of his head, because he's more valuable to this team with the on-base percentage, getting on base.
Pops one up in foul ground. Rendon hoping for a play, should have plenty of room, and that's the first out. So Nimmo fouls out, and now it's Dribble Cabrera, who carries great career numbers against Hellickson into this start. 11 for 26. That's a .423 average with 1 home run.
Hellickson has had trouble with the Mets throughout his career. It's his 10th start against the Mets in his career. A 2-4 record with an ERA coming in at 7.40. So the Mets have been rude to him.
First pitch curveball for a strike to Cabrera. Well, Hellickson started that game, I'm sure you remember it, back in the middle of April against Jacob deGrom. The Mets knocked him out in the 5th inning, and they built a 6-1 lead. And then the bullpen let it get away.
Right. It's a game they eventually lost.
Right. They lost 8-6 at a point when the Mets were playing so well. And that was the day that Mickey Callaway said after the game, we're not going to let one game send us into a tailspin. Here's the 0-2 to Cabrera, and he struck him out with a changeup. So Hellickson on 3 pitches takes care of Cabrera for the 2nd out.
2 curveballs, nasty down and in. He's got a big hook, and then he follows with a changeup here.
Changeup's always been his best pitch, going all the way back to his Rookie of the Year season.
Getting him out in front.
Hellickson was one of those guys who sat on the free agent market all winter and nobody bit. He didn't sign with the Nationals till the middle of March, but he has been a saver for them. Here's Bautista, who also has great career numbers against Hellickson. He takes a strike. I mean, the Nats rotation has been really weird. I mean, Scherzer's been Scherzer. Strasburg pitched great, but then he got hurt, and everybody else has struggled. And Hellickson's actually done okay through his dozen starts. It's it out to right center. Cutting in is Eaton, and he makes the grab to retire the side. So Hellickson has a quick inning. Took him just 8 pitches to get the Mets out 1-2-3. No score. Brought to you by the dynamic Lexus IS, thrilling by design. Yoenis Cespedes set to play in a simulated game. He's supposed to play 5 innings in left field tomorrow, and then they'll see where he goes from there. Mets are holding out hope that Cespedes might be back this coming weekend to DH against the Yankees. We'll see whether he progresses.
August 1st.
Anthony Rendon leads off against Corey Oswalt in the second and takes a strike. Rendon 5 for 12 in this series with a couple of home runs, 9th in the league in slugging percentage. Rendon, Adams, and Taylor against Oswalt, and it's grounded down to third and through the hole, a base hit.
Well, Rendon is pretty quality hitter, no doubt about it. In the hole, ground ball. Now all they need is a couple more hits to score him. Or they can hit a double. That'll score him. One thing's for certain, Rendon continues to like Met pitching. He has always killed the Mets.
6 for 13 now in this series. Here's Matt Adams, who's homered twice in this series, including one in the 8th inning against Zach Wheeler yesterday that ended his afternoon. Wheeler, though, pitched the longest stint of his season, 7 2/3, to get his first win since April. Off speed pitch hooked into right field. Adams has a base hit. Rendon will go first to third. And the Nationals have something working in the second, 1st and 3rd, and nobody out.
Looked like he hit a change up there, Gare. Kept his hands back, watched him let go with one hand. Yep, that's the change up in a good spot. Just doing the good hitting right there. Big, strong kid. Adams, I just don't know why he hasn't blossomed. I thought he was just going to be really an all-star player. But instead, he's kind of a dangerous hitter. He's a big, strong guy. He can take you deep if you make a mistake.
And he's had his stretches where he has carried teams. He certainly did that last year when he first got to Atlanta. Here's Michael Taylor with a check swing grounder to short. Could be 2. The turn by Cabrera, not in time. As the first run of the game scores. Very close play at first. Ball not hit hard on the check swing. Rendon comes in with the first run of the game.
Well, he flew down that line. And Adams has to pretty much slide now. And he did beat it. Boy. Speed is such a weapon. Yep.
25th RBI for Taylor, so 1-0 Washington. First run of the game brought to you by Hyundai's epic summer sales event. So Taylor at first, tied for the league lead in stolen bases with 24, so Oswalt will keep a close tether on him. Matt Wieters at the plate, 1 for 7 in this series.
Big lead.
And that's close. And he just got back. He not only had the big lead, but he was leaning towards second.
He was. Clearly got back.
Luck he might have.
It just reminds me of every time I held.
That's pitch out, sort of. Mesoraco popped out. The ball was almost over the plate. Don't see many pitch outs in today's game.
Matt Wieters not having a good first half.
Well, just back off the DL after missing 2 months. 4 games since he's come back, just 2 for 15.
That's another big uppercut swinger looking to pull. And watch him pull off this ball. And the big uppercut, just looking to put something in the right field seats.
Wearing sunglasses at the plate on a cloudy day.
There's sunshine on this cloudy day, though.
Well, when it's cold outside, I've got the month of May.
83%, so he makes the cut, doesn't he, Gare?
If you're over 80%, you should run more. Back to the mound, a chance for two. Rosario handles the low throw, and so does Flores. 1-6-3 double play. That gets Oswalt through the second with just the one run scoring. 1-0 Nats in the second.
One of the most spectacular features at Shea Stadium will be the most modern scoreboard in the major leagues. A scoreboard that will be a show in itself. This working model demonstrates some of the features. Finished, it will be over 8 stories high and 175 feet long.
It was a lovely scoreboard.
Yes,
however,
it was.
that the piece at the top that was supposed to project images never worked.
Never worked.
Yeah. But you know,
I love the scoreboard up there, the American and National League, running vertically down the scoreboard.
see that. I guess you would call it a video board. It was, you know, well before the Diamond Vision technology that we later introduced, you know, a generation hence. But they tried. It just didn't quite function. But I like the Rheingold ad on the score.
I like the, what is it? How do you pronounce it? The watch, Longines or Longines? Longines. Yeah. I love that.
Perfect for a day that France is ascending.
That's true.
Michael Conforto hit a 3-run homer yesterday. His first in July, his 11th of the year. Hoping that gets him going. Who's Hot? Brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Hot in that he has hit 8 home runs and 98 at bats against the Nationals. Not hot by any grand scale, that's for certain. But he'd sure like to get hot, and the Mets would like to see the Conforto they thought they were going to have this year, the one who was an all-star last year.
Well, he was a big piece. 27 home runs last year. The Mets were expecting that.
He gets crowded by Hellickson, 3-1. Wilmer Flores on deck, then Devin Mesoraco in the second. Hellickson got the side out on 8 pitches in the first inning. Michael's 3 for 9 in this series, including that home run yesterday. He pops one foul off the left side that'll go out of play. worth waiting for. Rain delay. Skies are cleared. All is well. 3-2 coming. Conforto gets jammed and fouls it off. Hellickson's 3-2, and he walked him. So the Mets have their first base runner. Hellickson does not walk many, just 1.6 walks per 9 innings this year. That's substantially down from last year. There's Flores.
He got his average up to 273. Wilmer getting a chance to play every day. He's getting his stroke and he's hitting the ball hard.
Hitting .319 in the month of July.
Trey Turner at shortstop. Interesting where he's playing. Look, he's around 10 feet, maybe a little more in front on the dirt, right on the left of your screen, the shortstop. That's double play depth right there. You don't want to play, even though Wilmer doesn't really run well. But he's a little in tight there at short.
Little nubber down to first. Adams going to take the shore out. He had to play at second base, but he declined to try.
He had no intention. That is definitely safety first. I mean, this is an easy force out right here. This is no get the lead runner. He comes and gets it. I thought he was going to go. He hadn't thought, never crossed his mind. Always want to keep that runner out of scoring position.
I mean, he had tons of time to pivot and make that throw.
Yep. Oh, well.
So the tying run in scoring position with one out. Now Devin Mesoraco, 1 for 4 in this series. It's a fairly well split the playing time between Mesoraco and Plawecki since Devin was acquired from the Reds. Be interesting to see if that maintains in the second half or if one of them winds up getting the bulk of the work.
Now, I know that Mesoraco is a free agent after this season, but I hope he sticks around next year. I kind of like what I see. I like the way he throws, number one. We've got a rotation that doesn't really hold runners on well, and you really need a catcher back there that can throw. And
up the middle, and Mesoraco's got a broken bat hit. Conforto turns third, stumbles, and has to go back to third base. Conforto went to third, did not take a proper turn, and as he came around the bag, he fell down. Should have scored easily on that play. Instead, the Mets have runners at first and third. Is he even round the bag? It was almost like he was expecting that to be handled by an infielder.
Well, he's busting around it. He just didn't make a big wide berth.
Watch, he comes in kind of directly and then has to short step it at the bag.
I mean, he did not have, I don't think he assumed the ball was going to be caught. I think he knew where the shortstop was.
Just seemed as though as he approached third, he didn't bow out the way you want your runner to.
Here's the angle we want right here. Number one, he's in the baseline on his lead. That's what caused him the initial problem. You want, and that's for your kids, you want to be 5 feet at minimum out of the baseline towards the left field fence. So you make your bow around third base. He started in the baseline. Now you got to angle out to circle to make the arc around the base, and that's why he fell.
The whole thing was very awkward from the start.
So it's not good base running.
Well, it has cost the Mets a run for the moment. Reyes will try and rectify that. Jose starting for the 8th time in the last 9 games, and I don't think anybody can quite figure out why that is, with Dom Smith planted on the bench. But the Mets continue to run Reyes out there virtually every day. And a curveball slapped to short, a chance for 2. Turner falls as he throws it, and they can't turn the double play. Everybody goes flying, and Conforto comes in to score the tying run. What's going on here?
Well, I tell you what, and it's not the grounds crew's fault, is that, remember, Gary, we watched earlier that they had to water the field late because of the rain delay, taking the tarp off, and I think it hasn't really dried yet. The sun's kind of behind the clouds, which leaves the dirt a little bit slippery.
Well, Turner went down, and then Defoe, coming across the bag, wound up going down at the end of the play. And the Mets get that run that they did not get earlier, and they tie the game. So, now Reyes at first with 2 out. Here's Rosario, who's 3 for 9 in this series, having a very good homestand. You have to really watch it against Hellickson. He's got a great move to first. There has not been a single stolen base attempt with Hellickson on the mound this year. He's that tough to run against. And a curveball drops in for a strike to Rosario.
Well, this whole inning, this 1 run that's scored as a result. If you look back at this inning, as Flores' ground ball to Matt Adams and not getting the lead runner Conforto on the fielder's choice, the run would still not be in right now. Defense, very important.
Another chance for Turner. This time he stays on his feet, gets the force play, and that retires the side. Mets get the run to equalize. 1-1 after 2. Top of the 3rd in a 1-1 game. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, it definitely looks like Corey Oswalt has made some noticeable strides the last couple of outings, and I know the Mets feel like he has. They noticed early on when he came up in April that his backside was collapsing. He was really getting underneath the baseball, and so they've really worked these last couple of weeks on getting that backside straighter so he can get back on top of the ball, and have noticed a major difference specifically with his breaking pitch, his curveball, which is now more down, hard down tilt. It worked really well for him against the Phillies, and they feel like that can be the step forward that he needs. So I know, Gary, you were talking about how Mickey Callaway today wouldn't really commit to who was going to be that 5th starter after the break. These strides, though, are why they're considering Corey Oswalt in that spot.
Well, it's a big opportunity, as I've said, for Corey. And you know, if you look at it, I've never understood, and a lot was this happened a lot under Sandy Alderson when he was GM these, what, 8 years, was how many times did this club only have one left-hander in the bullpen? And I just think it's imperative for a club to have two in that bullpen.
So you're saying they might be better off with Vargas?
I just don't know if Vargas is, you know, he's used to being a starter. I don't know if he'll transition well there. It'll certainly be an adjustment for him, and it'll certainly be a disappointment. I'm sure he wants to start.
Well, and there's no guarantee it would be permanent either. There's been so much conversation about the possibility of the Mets trading a starting pitcher.
Nice.
Rosario does a nice job getting in front of that ball and throws out Hellickson 1-1.
Very nice job.
You really have to be impressed with what you're seeing from Rosario
He's
right
playing
now.
with such energy. I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, I love that. I mean, he could have just taken the easy way with the backhand. The ball, you're more apt to not be able. A ball takes an up hop. It goes into the outfield. You get in front, it comes off your body. That's just that extra step. That's hustle.
1 out and nobody on. Here's Wilmer Defoe hitting 9th in the order and thinks about a bunt and takes it high. Defoe 1 for 7 in the series. He got most of the reps at second base while Murph was down the first 2 months of the season and playing second base again today. Remember, the Nats also had Howie Kendrick, but Kendrick blew out his Achilles and is out for the year. Defoe taps one right back to Oswalt. 2 out. It's 3 chances in the first 3 innings for the pitcher. So now second time through the batting order, Adam Eaton up with 2 out and nobody on. Eaton flied out to center his first time up. Fastball in for a strike.
Nice little sinker there, a little ball running away. And the left-hander. Oswalt throws strikes.
Six walks in 20 innings so far, and 3 of those came in 1 inning in his last start when he just lost the plate for a tad and wound up costing him the game. Yeah, that's right at the second baseman. Cabrera's got it. 1-2-3 inning for Corey Oswalt in the top of the 3rd. He continues to look fine. 1-1 game. Get ready for the most eagerly anticipated sequel of the summer as the New York Mets and Marvel Entertainment present the Noah Syndergaard as Thor bobblehead Saturday night, August 4th, when the Mets play the Braves. The first 25,000 fans will receive a limited edition collectible courtesy of Delta Airlines. Get your tickets at Mets.com/tickets. Corey Oswalt leads off in the home third against Jeremy Hellickson in a 1-1 game. Oswalt looking for his first big league hit. He's gone 0 for 3 so far. Nimmo and Cabrera to follow for the Mets.
Good curve by Hellickson. He's got one of those. Don't know if you folks, I know the young folks will remember. John Denny had a curveball like that. They won the
Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah, for the Phillies. Former teammate with the Cardinals.
And Oswalt down on 3 pitches. Second strikeout for Hellickson. That takes us to Around the Majors, brought to you by your Tri-State BMW Centers. Second manager in the big leagues fired this year, Mike Matheny. 7th season. He had a winning record in all 7. Made the postseason his first 4, but the storm clouds have been brewing in St. Louis for some time, and it came to a head last night.
Well, I know that they talk about the Cardinal way, and I think that just right now the Cardinal way is, George Kissel has been long gone in that organization. This club has over 70 errors this year, leads the major leagues, and that is very un-Cardinal-like, and that's not Matheny's fault.
Nimmo drives one to right. Back goes Eaton, and he makes a circus catch. I don't know exactly how he got his body turned that way, but he was able to get in the right place to snag that ball that appeared headed over his head.
And they almost got by him, boy. And he's not a big guy, tall, height-wise. That'll get you going. That'll get the heart going. Well.
Hellickson's reaction was priceless.
Whoa, backpedaling and everything.
Did not look like it was going to end well, but it did. 2 out and nobody on. Here's Cabrera. And he grounds one down to first. Adams on the backhand. Hellickson covers. It's another quick inning for Jeremy Hellickson. Took him just 5 pitches to get there. 1-1 after 3. Well, it's been a quick-paced 3 innings, almost as though folks have a place to go after today's game. 31 pitches for Corey Oswalt through the first 3 innings, only 30 for Jeremy Hellickson. 1-1 game as we start the 4th. Trey Turner leads off and takes a strike on the corner. Turner hit a weak pop-up to the mound his first time up. Soto and Rendon to follow against Oswalt, who's been throwing strikes This is inside with that one. It's a ball and a strike. So we were talking about Mike Matheny getting fired as Cardinal manager after 7 all-winning seasons, 6.5 anyway. Cardinals languishing in 3rd place, but only 4 games out in the wild card. So they still have an opportunity this year to get back to the postseason. And you know, you were talking, Keith, about the demise of the Cardinal way.
Yes.
And I think it's very interesting that the guy who takes over for Matheny is Mike Schilt, who was his bench coach and is a guy who's never played professional baseball, but is seen in the Cardinal organization as the keeper of the flame of the Cardinal way, a guy who was a disciple of George Kissel. And I think they're trying to get back to that.
I think so too. And Jose Oquendo is also a disciple of George Kissel, and he had a little bit of a problem with Mike Matheny and wanted to have more emphasis on fundamentals, and even had the team coming out and working. It was a couple of years ago. Had the team working out on the field during the season, which wasn't backed up by Matheny. And then Oquendo quit and went into the minor leagues. So, and this team has lost its way. I really do think that it's gone downhill ever since Jeff Luna went to Houston, to be honest with you, Gary. I think he was an important piece in that organization. He became general manager of Houston. Look what he's done there. World championship, but he was also the guy that was the talent evaluator and the minor league guy. The Cardinals are always able to funnel in new talent.
9th pitch of the at bat, and Turner grounds one foul. Well, there have also been some recent stories that really added a ton of fuel to the fire, and I think led proximately to Matheny's demise. One was that Matheny apparently had not spoken to Dexter Fowler, who had been their, the high-priced free agent that they signed before last year, and is having a dreadful year. But apparently they are not even on speaking terms for the last 2 months. That's driven to left, and back goes Conforto to pick it off. 10-pitch at bat, and Oswalt gets Turner on the line drive. So there was that. And then the story that came out more recently about how apparently Matheny assigned Bud Norris, the veteran in the bullpen, to keep tabs on their young, hard-throwing reliever Jordan Hicks, who hadn't played above A ball before this year, and basically be the sheriff in the bullpen. And apparently Hicks has not responded particularly well to that, and that was one of those old school, new school kind of clashes that probably didn't serve Matheny well either.
Now, that is a little bit. I mean, the insinuation was that Norris was reporting back on what's going on in the bullpen to Matheny, which I can't agree with. Matheny has denied it. It's just a whole lot going on. Evidently, it can be backed up with Matheny's quotes. The article was really, really blistering as far as Matheny is concerned. Ultimately, the players are the ones that play. The manager can't play for them. And that article was just really distressing for me, that players rolling their eyes at the moves he's making on the field. There's a lot of backstabbing going on,
But you know what? Sometimes this is just the normal progression of things. Right after a manager's been there 5, 6, now in Matheny's case 7 years, sometimes players stop listening, and it's hard to listen to that same voice year after year.
Well, particularly in today's game.
Soto goes down on strikes. Good fastball away from Oswalt for his first strikeout of the day.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, when you're a player, and here's the fastball away. Nice sinker right there. Very good spot. 2-seamer. Players should not be focusing on what the manager's doing on the field. A lot of the bench players I know got time on their hands. A lot of guys in the bullpen got time on their hands. But the everyday player, just go out there and don't worry what the manager's doing. Go out there and play your game. It's just to me that maybe there had to be a move, a change in St. Louis.
Yeah, it has seemed inevitable for some time. I mean, the insinuation in the story you were talking about that Bernie Nicholas wrote was that even Yadier Molina was not on good terms with Matheny. And if you've lost Yadi, then basically you've lost the team. Popped up along the line in shallow left. Who's going to call? It's going to be Conforto. And that retires the side. Another quick inning for Corey Oswald. He's retired 7 in a row. 1-1 game in the 4th. Baseball is brought to you by Hyundai. Get an epic deal at the Hyundai Epic Summer Sales Event going on now at your Hyundai dealer. And Corey Oswald working very quickly and working very efficiently through the first 4 innings. Jeremy Hellickson has done pretty much the same.
Well, 2 very efficient innings. And nothing wrong with 17. It's a nice number.
Gave up a leadoff walk in the 2nd that cost him the only run he's allowed. 3, 4, and 5 in the Mets batting order in the 4th. Jose Bautista leads off and takes a fastball strike. Bautista flying to right his first time up. Conforto and Flores to follow. Bautista with 3 career home runs against Hellickson in 36 at bats.
Really holds his hands high, Bautista. Cooler today, Garrett, huh?
Upper 70s right now. It's not what they predicted.
There's that big hook by Hellickson, and it's not thrown with a lot of velocity, folks, and for it to break like it does, and you can see it on your TV screen, it has to have a lot. I'm not going to say it. He has to get a lot of spin on it.
Good spin rate? Is that what you're trying to say? You don't have to say it. 2-2 coming to Bautista, and the curveball on the outside corner. He got him looking. So 2 changeups, 2 curveballs, and Bautista is down on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Hellickson.
Pretty good paint right there. Who says that ball? It's impossible for that ball to break. Well, you remember the physicists were saying it's impossible for the ball.
Can't curve.
Can't curve.
It doesn't. It just displaces. Here's Conforto, walked and scored the Mets run, and he fouls one off. Hey, Elias ran some fascinating numbers on Conforto today. He hit the 3-run homer yesterday. Mets won the game, right?
Yes.
For his career, when Conforto plays in a Mets victory, he hits .328. When he plays in a Mets loss, he hits 176. Now,
That's
Elias,
this year?
That's for his career.
Okay.
So Elias went back and checked. In the entire history, modern baseball history, since 1900, there have been 3,300 players who've had at least 500 plate appearances in wins and 500 plate appearances in losses. And Conforto has the largest gap in batting average between his batting average in wins and his batting average in losses since 1900.
Really?
So he has been what you call a leading indicator as the changeup strikes him out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Hellickson. I thought that was fascinating. I mean, is it happenstance? What does it really mean? I don't know. But you're talking about 118 years, and nobody has a larger gap between his batting average in wins and his batting average in losses.
You would think. There's a lot of variables in there. I mean, a good team or a bad team, and you're a big part of that team. And maybe Ted Williams, you would think, would be one of those bad Boston teams.
Yeah, but he got hits and losses too, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the disparaging.
Yeah,
but I'm sure he didn't.
I don't know. I know it says one thing, that the Mets really need Conforto to be the good Conforto.
Right.
Because, you know, we haven't seen that nearly enough this year, and it's at least part of the reason the Mets are 15 games under 500.
And I don't think you're going to find Ted Williams hitting on the interstate on losing games.
Right.
Over the long haul.
Now, just as a for instance, as Wilmer flies one foul, in your career you hit 333 in wins and 254 in losses. So that's a 79-point spread, but I mean, Conforto has a 152-point spread. I mean, most players are going to have better numbers in wins than losses, just that his are so incredibly stark.
There's a lot of things you can plug in there too. You can, I mean, plug in on base percentage because you're getting on base and then you're a chance to score. So it's just really a very, very narrow look.
I mean, you could do it by OPS. That would probably be the broadest way of looking at it. But still, it's pretty remarkable that it goes back that far and that he's got the biggest spread of everybody. Wilmer grounded out his first time up. Hellickson struck out the first two in the inning. And Wilmer lines one to center. It'll stay up for Taylor, and that retires the side. 8 in a row retired by Hellickson after 4, tied 1-1. Infinity empower the drive. It's close results, but Corey Oswalt has snuck out a victory in the high-speed pitch competition. Congratulations, Corey.
Well, Kind of like seeing two pitchers that are control pitchers.
Yeah.
So they're not flamethrowers.
Working fast, throwing strikes. Good baseball. Here's Matt Adams. And he goes after a first pitch changeup from Oswalt. 0-1. Adams had a base hit to right field his first time up. Oswalt gave up back-to-back hits to start the second. Runs scored on a fielder's choice, and that's all he's allowed. He's retired 8 in a row, as has Hellickson, after each team scored on a ground ball in the second.
I mean, here's another guy like Justin Bohr right here, Matt Adams. Big, strong left-hand hitter, power hitter. Would love to get him on top of the plate and just become a dead pull hitter. And he's so doggone strong. But he's off the plate.
He's more of a pull hitter now than he was when he first came up.
That's his problem. But he's going to pull more than get closer to the plate.
Wilmer makes the unassisted play, 1 out. I mean, when we first saw him, remember first spring training we saw him with the Cardinals?
Yep.
He was a line drive hitter using the whole field.
Yep, and they see a big guy and they want him to hit home runs. Okay, my point is, if you get on top of the plate, just say you get a foot off the plate. Now that barrel of that bat covers not only the outside corner, it covers around 3 inches off the plate. And if a pitcher makes a mistake over the middle, now here's a good change sinker right there. That's a good pitch by Corey. Now, if you're on top of the plate, you got more barrel of that bat covering that outside corner. Well, that's a nubber.
3-inch shot by Taylor.
Oh.
And Mesoraco throws him out, 2 away.
Watch out. The worms underneath there were running for cover. Back to my point is that then you can learn to look in because they're going to pitch you in. When Lou Brock got me to move on top of the plate, Gary, in 1976, I believe, or when I started that second half and got to play every day, he said, get on top of the plate against left-handers and make it obvious. Lou told me that when you move on top of the plate, hit like Frank Robinson hit. Frank hit right on top of the plate. He goes, they're going to make it obvious. They're going to see that and they're going to pitch you inside. Go first time through the league, look in. And then once you hit the ball, just hit the ball hard. They're going to say, I've said this before, that's my best pitch is fastball. And then he's pulling it. Then they're going to go away and you're on top of the plate and you got that barrel of that bat covering outside corner and you can just wail. And it made perfect sense.
Who wants it? It's going to be Flores, and that retires the side. Oswalt's retired 11 in a row. The rookie continues to look very sharp halfway through, tied at 1.
Well, Ralph, you did have a great career. Now, what do you think about a season in the booth?
Well, of course, Lindsay, I'm looking forward to it very much, and welcome back to the National League. Casey, you know it is the big league. And the National League has always been my favorite, and it's certainly going to be a pleasure to be watching your teams play, and it's going to be a wonderful pleasure to work with Lindsey Nelson and Bob Murphy, and I'm looking forward to every minute of it.
That is just fantastic. Spring training 1962, before the Mets ever played a game that mattered. The original three broadcasters, Bob Murphy, Lindsey Nelson, Ralph Kiner, with the great Casey Stengel.
Oh, we missed. I did not. I'm sure I met. When was Lindsey's last year in the booth?
Lindsey, 78 was his last year.
So I had to have met Lindsey Nelson early in my career.
Then he went to the Giants.
That's right. So we missed them all. That's for sure. And Ralph, that sport coat he was wearing there looked like my fabric on my sofa.
Devin Mesoraco leads off in the bottom of the fifth. In a 1-1 game, Mesoraco had a base hit in the midst of the Mets run production in the second, and he fouls one away. In fact, he should have had an RBI. Conforto was at second. Mesoraco singled up the middle, and Conforto got his feet messed up coming around third, fell down. Eventually scored on the fielder's choice. Keith, I want to get back to what you were saying in the last half inning about Matt Adams and the suggestion that maybe he should get closer to the plate. Do you think that hitters don't do that as a rule because they are just too afraid of getting jammed and not being able to handle that pitch inside?
Well, we can't paint with a broad brush, and but I think with that philosophy, and as we were talking about keeping your hands inside the ball, I think that the only time I ever thought to keep my hands inside the ball was late and close in the game. Tie game, a close game. A big run on second base, leadoff double. Runner on second, nobody out. A tough left-hander was out there, a hard sinker, and my job was, Lugo up in the bullpen, my job was to minimum advance the runner. And that hard sinker came into my hands, particularly with 2 strikes. I would bring my hands in, like Richie Sexton, the old the outfielder, first baseman with the Brewers in Seattle. He did it the best with a power hitter. But that's the only time I ever used that. So to me, if you're teaching everybody to keep your hands inside the ball, I was taught let your hands fly out. And don't worry, you're going to get jammed once in a while. The pitcher's making a living. He's out there. He's going to break your bat once in a while. Don't let it worry you. Don't worry inside. So to me, when you're preaching keeping your hands inside the ball, that to me is a negative in the back of the hitter's mind. And then when it gets you worried, well, I got to get my hands in quick to get the barrel through, then it makes you vulnerable outside.
Right.
And I'm a different generation of hitter, and they're taught a different way, and it may compute in their way their brain waves are all set up and all that, but I was always let my hands fly out.
3-0 to Reyes, who drove in the only Met run in this game, and he takes a strike.
I mean, it's just so there's so many things about hitting and philosophy. We just can't sit up here and generalize. But we can talk. We can talk philosophy. There's Bryce Harper enjoying his day off.
That's cracked to right field. Eaton going back, and it's over his head. Hops up against the wall. Reyes pulls in at second base with a 1-out double. After Hellickson had retired 9 in a row, Reyes hits it hard for his 6th double of the year.
Fastball right down the pipe. Wanted to get it away. Did not. It sank, but he didn't get it on the outside corner. Jose right there covering it.
Well, the Mets have the tie-breaking run in scoring position. We saw Seth Lugo a moment ago up in the bullpen. Corey Oswalt, though, for the moment is out on deck, and it may depend on the situation as to whether he gets to bat. But Oswalt's been so good.
Let him pitch.
Really be reluctant to take him out at this point.
I doubt. I mean, I just would find it hard to believe.
Rosario heading to a fielder's choice his first time up. Well, if Rosario can get the run in, that might make the point moot. It's jammed on that fastball, 0-1.
Rosario has been so hot. Last night was the first time in around a week. It's been hot for around a week that he's really Chase pitches out of the strike zone. Up, around 3 or 4 up above in his eyes, and around 3 of them on bad sliders away. Let's see if he gets his plate discipline back today.
Rounded down to third, a foul ball. Hellickson ahead 0-2. Keeps an eye on Reyes. Jose, the major league's active stolen base leader. Just 4 this year, 5 tries.
Oh.
And that one gets by Wieters, and that'll get Reyes to third.
I think Wieters was caught by surprise. Hellickson almost didn't stop when he from his stretch from the belt, and he like quick pitched almost. And I think it caught Wieters by surprise.
Well, he certainly turned that glove and his body very awkwardly.
I think he was expecting Hellickson to kind of hold the glove at the belt a split second longer.
I think maybe he was crossed up, that he was expecting a fastball and got a changeup.
No, I don't think so.
Infield comes in with Reyes at third and 1 out. A 1-2 count to Rosario. And Ahmed tried to hold, and he somehow did.
He did.
The ball was way out of the strike zone, and he almost went.
So here you go, a pitcher that knows how to pitch in Hellickson. And he knows he's got a young hitter up here that likes to chase. It's 1-2. He throws a curveball out of the strike zone to try to get an easy out, a strikeout with a runner on third that he needs.
But he also had to trust that Wieters was going to stop that ball after he was so awkward on the previous one. 2-2 coming, and he struck him out.
Oh, changeup. Well, that's pretty good pitching.
6 strikeouts for Hellickson, and that's the one he needed most.
Oh boy, I'll tell you what, that's going to get that's going to get more than a few hitters.
It's also going to take Corey Oswalt out of the game.
Well,
if Rosario gets that run in, then Oswalt stays in, but Rosario couldn't do it, and now Oswalt will be pulled for a pinch hitter. And Dom Smith will come up to bat.
I know the game's changed, but you're trying to build confidence. You don't want someone to say, okay, I'm 5 and fly. I mean, he's not 5 and fly. It's the manager doing it.
And not just that, but it's not like he was getting skirting by the skin of his teeth. He was completely dominant through his 5 innings. Give up 2 hits through 59 pitches, and he's out of the game.
I agree. He's throwing well. Leave him in there. Let him build confidence.
So Dom Smith, who's in a 4-for-41 skid, will try and get the run in with 2 outs. Meanwhile, they're playing Rendon 50 feet off the line, and you got Reyes at third base. It'd be a bad time to try and steal home.
If you're Hellickson, you got to pitch from the stretch, and he is. That negates that.
But I mean, you can come halfway down the line with.
Well, if you're Hellickson, then you got to step off. You can't let him.
Here he comes. And Hellickson steps off. But if I'm Reyes, I keep doing that.
I'd welcome it, because you can come to your belt and you don't have to have your normal windup. You can just quick throw it home. You'd be out by a mile, as long as you're from the stretch.
Well, Dom hasn't gotten to play much. And Mickey Callaway said that there will be discussion during the All-Star break as to where he is best served, here or in Vegas. But it has been a struggle. Reyes halfway down the line, then stops, and then Smith fouls it off. And it's 1-2. Well, Reyes at least is trying to make something happen. See so many of these situations where the third baseman is giving you whatever lead you want, and
Sure.
nobody takes advantage of it.
The rule is you can take as big a lead as the third baseman is away from your from the bag. So Reyes could really, if he wants to come more than a half, he can.
Yep.
He can come 3/4. And
now
that gets
Rendon,
dicey then.
See now Rendon moving over a little closer just to get his attention. And Dom is hit by the pitch. And he goes to first base, and that'll get Nimmo up.
Now, I think the veteran Hellickson was rattled by that, Gary.
So there you go.
I wouldn't like that. Got him on the knee. Didn't really try to get out of the way of that ball, did he?
Well, as long as you don't lean into it the way Nimmo has been called for a couple of times.
And he was rightly called for it, Brandon.
Yes, he was.
I mean, that's a distraction to the pitcher. I don't care how cool and calm you are.
So 1st and 3rd and 2 out. And here's Nimmo, and this time Rendon a lot closer to Reyes.
Brandon needs to lay off the high one. He's been chasing too many high strikes.
And he pops one up. Shallow center field. Taylor coming on to call. And that retires the side. Mets get a double from Reyes, but he's left stranded at third after 5. Mets and Nats tied at 1. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Altice One from Optimum. Wake up with Dan, Byron, Marissa, and the rest of the Picks Morning News crew with breaking news, traffic, and sports, plus the latest weather to keep you in the know. Mornings from 4:30 to 9 on the Pix 11 Morning News, New York's very own. Seth Lugo on in relief for New York. Pitched 2 hitless innings on Friday night after giving up a couple of walks, was able to work around them. Jeremy Hellickson leads off for the Nationals in the 6th and pops one up foul. That'll come back out of play. Hellickson grounded to short his first time up, 1 for 20 on the season. So Corey Oswalt, 59 pitches over 5 innings, 1 run, 2 hits, no walks, 1 strikeout. And he leaves in a 1-1 game. That means in the last 2 starts, Oswalt's pitched 11 innings, giving up 3 hits.
Oh, I wish Oswalt was still in this game.
Well, again, going back to what Mickey Callaway didn't say earlier today, there's every chance you might be seeing more of him after the All-Star break.
5 innings, 2 hits.
And only 59 pitches.
No walks.
And he kept it simple. You know, through strikes, change speeds.
And if he is going to be inserted into the rotation, we don't know that. You got 4 days off. He's going to be the back end of the rotation coming out, so he's not going to pitch for over a week. Unless, of course, he's in the bullpen.
By the way, speaking of the rotation coming out of the All-Star break, it was interesting that DeGrom, who pitched on Wednesday, is going to be going third out of the break and not pitch till Sunday. So, except for whatever work he does in the All-Star game, so he will have had 10 days between starts.
When is Severino slated to pitch?
Not against the Mets. They're going to hold him back until the next series.
Okay.
The Mets will see Domingo Germán on Friday, Sonny Gray on Saturday, and then Masahiro Tanaka on Sunday.
So they're putting that's a pretty good matchup, although Tanaka's had his troubles. But he's still
really all three of those guys have struggled.
Yep.
And the only Yankee starters who have had good seasons have been Severino. That's up the middle, and Hellickson's got his second hit of the season. So that's how Lugo's stint begins, giving up a hit to the pitcher.
Well, I think Severino, I saw him in the postseason, of course, when I did the Fox postseason, got a chance to see him. And I think that he, it was apparent in that World Series, not the World Series, excuse me, in the Championship Series. You know, he's a little rattled on the road, but I think he learned so much from that experience. I mean, he's got lightning stuff.
Yes. Here's Defoe squaring to bunt, and he takes a strike. I mean, he and Sabathia have really been the only two reliable starters the Yankees have had, which makes me think that they're going to go out and get a pitcher before the trading deadline.
Well, they're going to have to. The American League is pretty formidable. Whoever makes it to the top, it's going to be a hard fought. It's going to be hard fought.
Well, the Red Sox are 3.5 games in front of the Yankees going into play today. Red Sox are leading their game 5-2 over Toronto in the 6th. The Yankees are tied in the 7th with the Indians. Jerry Blevins up in the Mets bullpen. You got the left-hand hitting Eaton on deck. 0-2 to Defoe with Hellickson aboard at first. And that comes inside, 1-2. There are those AL East standings.
Almost 70 wins. Are they winning today? They are in the 6th, 5-2 Boston. We're going to break with 68 wins. What is that winning? Excuse me. That winning percentage? And
where they are right now.
What would that factor in if they go 68-30? What would that factor for a season end?
Right now they're at 691. At 67-30.
Over
68-30 is 694. Fly ball center field. Nimmo back a stride or two. And Defoe retired, 1 out. Hellickson back to first. If they stay where they are now, even the Red Sox are
162.
Pace for 112 wins.
112. That's
which they've never done in their history. What's the Red Sox record? I don't think they've been to 108 ever.
Mets have.
I know 108 is a very special number to you.
It's right there with 11 other teams are in the history of the game have won 108 games or more.
To me, the most impressive one was Cleveland in '54.
Yes,
they won 111 in a 154 game schedule.
It was an incredible year for them, and then they lost.
Right, to the Giants. They got swept.
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes, right? Polo Grounds.
Yeah, 260-foot home runs.
There was Feller, Garcia, Early Wynn, and managed the Yankees.
Bob
Lemon. Yep. Nice.
Anthony Swarzak up alongside Blevins. The Red Sox record for wins in a season was 1912. They won 105 games.
In 154.
Right. Eaton lines one to left, has right at Conforto for the second out. So 2 away. Hellickson still at first. And Trey Turner coming up. Well, the question in terms of the Mets' next series against the Yankees is going to be, whether they can get Gary Sanchez back in the lineup. He's out on rehab right now. Gleyber Torres, of course, is also down with a hip injury. I don't think he's as close to getting back as Sanchez is. I mean, that lineup is so formidable anyway, but
they need a left-handed bat. And Bird, you know, ups and downs. He's been hit home runs lately, but they're overloaded on the right side.
It's a pretty good right side.
Yes, it is.
Nice curveball by Lugo, and it's 1-1 to Turner. Well, right now the Yankees are on a pace to hit 276 home runs this year. Got 160 coming into today. And a throw to first with Wilmer not in the bag. That's a balk. And Hellickson goes to second base. I don't think Lugo realized that Wilmer was not holding the pitcher on.
That's embarrassing. He's lucky he didn't throw it away.
I was going to say, at least he didn't throw it to the base.
Whoa.
That would have been worse.
Because anytime that ball's in play, folks, on a balk, umpire calls a balk and that ball's running loose. The runner can, that ball's in play.
Bautista with a long way to come, but he'll get there to make the catch to retire Turner. And that retires the side. Middle of the 6th. Mets and Nats tied at 1. Nice day to make sure that you're hydrated. Take a drink, big fella.
Rest period and talk to Roger about the coming season. Roger, I know you're looking forward to playing with the Mets this year.
I sure am, Ralph. You can see this exercise completely gets you out of breath, and I've been working very hard this spring as the rest of the ball players, and I'm sure we're going to have a very, very good ball club.
Well, maybe not such a good ball club, but all that running certainly helped Roger, who had to do a lot of backing up that year. 10 and 24.
How old was he in '62?
He was 32 years old. He looked like he was 50. I know in that.
He did.
That little clip there. I mean, he wasn't horrible, right? He had a 4.5 ERA. The next year, he was even better. He had a 3.78 ERA, and he went 5 and 22.
He pitched for the Cardinals, didn't he? In '64.
Yeah, in '64, yeah. He was part of that pennant-winning team.
Yep.
Our next Picks telecast is Saturday when the Mets play the Yankees. Coverage begins 12:30 with Spectrum Picks pregame right here on Picks 11, New York's very own. Tie game as we go to the bottom of the 6th. As Drupal Cabrera leads off against Jeremy Hellickson, who's thrown to 61 pitches through the first 5 innings. Now facing the Mets' 3rd time around the batting order. Cabrera, Bautista, and Conforto in the home sixth. Nats with 3 hits, the Mets with only 2. And Cabrera takes a strike with a cutter.
Marvin Hudson has had a outstanding game behind the dish, calling balls and strikes.
Well, you got 2 guys, the 2 starters, who are pretty simple and throw a lot of strikes, and I think the home plate umpires love that. Guys who are not terribly erratic.
Although I would think it's like hitting. I'd rather face someone that knows what he's doing than have a hard thrower that's all over the place.
Ellickson's faced 20 batters, thrown 17 first pitch strikes. And Cabrera gets one in the air toward the right field corner. Eaton going back right near the pole, and it's foul.
That was out.
It had the distance, just a little off angle. Eaton with another awkward run for a ball. He made that strange looking catch on Nimmo earlier, and now this, afraid of getting hit by the carom.
Well, he's covered.
Cabrera's already hit more home runs before the All-Star break than any Mets second baseman ever has. He's got 17. His career high home runs is 25, right, with the Indians?
Yes.
So he's certainly got a shot at that this year.
I think that he's shooting for it.
Takes a change up in the dirt too.
I've noticed a difference what he's doing left-handed. He's not trying to hit home runs right-handed. I think he's a better average hitter right side, more of a line drive hitter. Left side, he's been trying to lift that ball middle in, trying to get a little extra lift to it to get it, pull it down the line.
The curveball misses inside, 3-2. Ellickson has walked 1. That 1 came home to score. Justin Miller, the right-hander. Matt Grace, the left-hander, up in the Nats bullpen. 3-2 to Asdrubal. And another curveball, and that's ball 4. Second time that Hellickson's walked the leadoff hitter today.
He wanted both those curveballs, 2-2 and 3-2, and didn't get the call. This one just kind of, I think, rainbowed over the strike zone. Rainbowed over the letters.
You're not going to get that very often.
No, but it's also, if you're waiting on it, it's a good pitch to hit.
So now Bautista, who's flied out and struck out. And a check swing foul. 0-1. It's been a good outing for Hellickson, who had such a dreadful year last year with the Phillies and the Orioles. One of the reasons he didn't get signed till late. He's had his injury problems here with a hamstring problem that set him down most of June, but he's looked good. Popped up by Bautista. And Turner will take charge of it.
Well, you saw Bautista's reaction. That was a fastball down the middle and down in the strike zone as well. And he missed it. Right here to hit. If it was that easy, yeah, right?
It's obviously not very easy.
Yep, he's just frustrated. How did I miss that one? Oh, I'd love to have that pitch back. That's what he's telling himself.
So now Conforto, who scored the only Met run after walking in the second, then struck out in the fourth. Cabrera at first with 1 out. Pops him inside with that cutter. 1-0.
That's what we've been seeing. A lot of hard stuff in, and then the soft stuff away. To Michael.
New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Infinity. Empower the drive. One and one to Conforto. And Michael lays off. Stop the swing. 2-1. Mets and Nats wrapping up a 4-game series. Mets have taken 2 of the first 3. And you know how long it's been since the Mets won a series, but how about this? Mets and Nats play a lot of 4-game series. The last 13 4-game series between these two teams, the Nats have won 9 and the other 4 were split. Mets haven't won a 4-game series from the Nats since 2005, their first year in Washington at RFK Stadium. That long ago. They have just been manhandled by the Nats over the last few years. In fact, the Mets have already beaten the Nats as many times this year as they did all of last year. They were 6-13 against Washington last year, 6-3 this year. Conforto hits a comebacker. Hellickson to second. Turner on to first. 1-6-3 double play. Side retired. Hellickson continues to excel after 6. Mets and Nats tied at 1. Shop, ChooseNissan.com. Just 3 hits for the Nats today. They scratched out a run in the 2nd inning. Scored on the fielder's choice. Anthony Swarzak will take over the pitching for the Mets as we go to the 7th.
Well, Swarzak pitched last night a 1/3 of an inning, came in relief in that 8th inning for Wheeler and got out of the jam after Wheeler gave up that 2-run home run to Matt Adams. It's been a struggle for Anthony. Season didn't get off to how he wanted. Hurt in spring training with the oblique. Missed a lot of the first half of the season. Hasn't been able to get it going.
Went great for him yesterday. Threw 1 pitch and got an out. That was his outing. His first pitch this time is in for a strike to Juan Soto. Soto's fouled out and struck out 0 for 2. Soto, Rendon, and Adams for the Nats in the 7th. Keep in mind as we move toward the later stages of this game that the Nats have both Bryce Harper and Daniel Murphy sitting in the dugout.
Yeah, they've got a pretty good left-handed bench. So all the more reason to keep Blevins in camouflage back there and ready to go and come out and attack.
Although Blevin's only appearance in this series, he gave up the home run to Harper.
Yes, he did.
It was in the first game of the series on Thursday night, the only one the Nats won in this series. And the Mets gave them a pretty good fight in that game that Max Scherzer started. And Soto fouls off the fastball, 2-2. So Seth Lugo worked an inning, allowed no runs and 1 hit after Corey Oswalt went the first 5, allowed 1 run, 2 hits. It is generally the case in the last day before the All-Star break, as Brandon Kinsler, who has not appeared in this series, gets up in the Nats bullpen. It's generally the case that everybody in the bullpen's available, because after all, you have 4 days off after today. And there used to be a time when routinely teams would use starting pitchers in relief on that last Sunday before the All-Star break. It is a much less common occurrence now. Three-two coming, and Soto draws a leadoff walk. Not a good beginning for Swarzak. First walk given up by Mets pitching today, and now Rendon will come up with the man on.
Soto, one thing that Soto hasn't done this year since his call-up is he hasn't stolen bases. He's only got 1 stolen base in 1 try.
He's not. I don't think he has exceptional speed.
I don't think he's fast. Yes, average.
Yep. So now Rendon, who singled and scored the only Nats run in the 2nd, then flied out in the 4th. You know, talking about starting pitchers working in relief right before the All-Star break. I think the last Mets starter to do that was R.A. Dickey, and if I recall correctly, it didn't go particularly well. That's got to be at least 6 years ago. Steven Matz would probably be the prime candidate if the Mets were going to do that, but he's sitting in the dugout, not in the bullpen, which tells you everything you need to know. It's not going to happen. Tim Peterson getting up in the Mets bullpen. I remember when Tom Seaver, if it was the right day, he would do that all the time. Coming in relief that last day, and starting pitchers did it as a matter of course. Were available. He had a few days off.
Different time.
Yep. Slider off the plate from Swarzak, who just hasn't had the great command of that slider that led to his wonderful season last year with the White Sox and the Brewers.
Well, he said as much. He just hasn't been able to command his slider.
Early takeoff by Soto. Swarzak steps off and a bad throw. And Soto is safe at 2nd.
Did Cabrera try to bare hand?
Yes, he did.
Was it necessary?
I think it surprised him because it was to his right and he didn't have time to get the glove over.
No, he had to do it, I guess. He got to the bag late. And I tell you what, it was fortunate that the ball caromed towards Rosario. That could have been Soto on 3rd base.
So Soto has his 2nd career stolen base. An odd-looking play. I mean, he got so early, and then Swarzak did not make a particularly good throw. And so it goes. So now the tie-breaking run in scoring position with nobody out.
Well, let's see what Rendon does now.
Soto donning the oven mitt, although Cabrera probably could have used it better than Soto.
A 2-1 count. Top of the 7th, runner on 2nd base, nobody out. Let's see if Rendon gets him over or in.
I think he's concentrating on in. An ugly cut of the slider, and it's 2-2.
I just get the feeling that there's just, bring a word back from former President Jimmy Carter, a kind of malaise over that Nationals team over here on that third base dugout.
You know that Carter never actually said malaise, right?
No.
Yeah. It was called the National Malaise Speech, but he never actually used the word.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought I heard him say that. I thought I heard.
He might have said it in another context.
Okay. Yeah. Again, another lead off the base by Soto, not on in the baseline. We'll get a chance to show you. Oh, that came close again. A third one, Gare, this series that came close to us.
We've been saying that for 10 years, Keith. It's not coming in. There we are.
That just hit right over. Right there's Bob Carpenter
on Nationals TV with FP Santangelo standing.
There's the look at the security guard right there. That's where it hit up about. Look at the lead in the baseline by Soto. Not good.
Three and two to Rendon, and it's too high.
Oh,
Swarzak has walked the first two batters in the seventh. Well, Peterson is up in the bullpen.
And that's going to be it.
No, he's going out with the trainer. I think they want to look at Cabrera. He's still looking at that right hand. So Brian Chiclo is going to go out and check on Cabrera. Callaway is going to go to the bullpen and bring in Peterson. So another empty outing for Anthony Swarzak. He faces two batters and walks them both.
Oh.
And he wants Cabrera to make a fist, and apparently it's hard for him to do right now. So I would think that Cabrera is probably coming out of this game. Swarzak's definitely coming out. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center.
Pitch the game.
Tim Peterson in to face Matt Adams. First and second, nobody out in a tie game, and he misses with his first pitch changeup, ball one.
Well, there's Peterson's numbers, and he pitched in the first game of this series. He faced one batter, gave up a base hit. That run wound up scoring.
It was Rendon, an infield single. Meanwhile, Cabrera got checked out by the trainer, obviously in discomfort with that right hand, but he stayed in. Adams hooks one into right field. That's a base hit. Soto to third. He'll be held up there as Bautista gets it into the cutoff man. So Adams greets Peterson with a base hit, and the Nats have the bases loaded with nobody out.
Ball outside, corner. You see, he's such a dead pull hitter now, Gary. If he'd been on top of the plate, he'd have much more barrel out there. But he gets the job done. Mets are in trouble. Not a real good jump on that base hit. A terrible jump. That ball was not going to be caught. You got to know where your outfielders are.
Well, now Davey Martinez will unveil his bench and send up Daniel Murphy to bat for Michael Taylor in a spot to untie this game. Murph started the first 3 games of the series, went 1 for 6, but with 4 walks. And a lengthy conference out there.
Let's see how the Mets play the infield here. We are in the 7th inning. I got to believe it's going to be halfway, Gare. On the middle infielders, in at the corners. Double play depth. I guess they're going to turn 2. Okay, I can get this with 1 out. If they can get 1 out without that run scoring, and I think you got to come halfway.
Yeah, they're a little deeper than halfway. So here's Murph batting with the bases loaded, nobody out. And a first pitch fastball from Peterson in for a strike.
And Murph's mad at himself for taking that one.
Well, the scouting report probably said expect a first pitch changeup. He didn't get one. Soto at third, Rendon at second, Adams at first with nobody out. And Murphy takes one just off the inside corner. Ball and a strike. Matt Wieters on deck. Tim Peterson trying to find his way out of a mess that Swarzak started. And Murphy lines one into right. That's a base hit, and the Nats will grab the lead. Soto is in. Rendon trying to score. The throw by Bautista is cut off. Daniel Murphy with a 2-run pinch hit single, and the Nats go in front 3-1.
Well, what new? Good pitch inside too. Tried to back it up inside. See Mesoraco set up in. Did he get it in? He sure did. And look at Daniel just muscle that ball. Well done.
Didn't get a lot of it, but got enough to dump it into right field and drive in a pair. Both those runs charged to Swarzak. Dave Island is out to talk to Peterson, who's given up back-to-back hits. So this is the trickle down, right? You take out a starting pitcher who is sailing along. You only get 1 inning out of Lugo. And then you find the soft spot in your bullpen, and now you're behind in the game. Now Matt Wieters, still nobody out. Wieters is grounded into a double play and fouled out, 0 for 2. Both the walks have come around to score. Adams now at second, Murphy at first. And Wieters asked to bunt, and he gets it down nicely. Mesoraco throws him out, but Matt Wieters sacrifices. Play goes 2-4 or 2-3, and now runners at second and third.
Well, I think that just speaks volumes of how Dave Martinez, the rookie manager for Washington, is thinking. He wants his club to win this ball game, go into the All-Star break at 500, not 2 games under 500, for whatever that's worth.
Now Brian Goodwin will bat for the pitcher. First base open. Wilmer Defoe on deck. Adams at third, Murphy at second. The infield playing halfway. And a first pitch slider misses low for ball 1. That was Wieters' 3rd career sacrifice bunt. He had 1 in 2013, 1 in 2016, and now 1 this year. And Goodwin takes a changeup out of the strike zone, 2-0. Well, we talked about the left-handed bench that Davey Martinez had available. He's used Murphy, he's using Goodwin, and there's Harper is also available in the dugout. And a fastball strike to Goodwin, 2-1. Goodwin has pinch hit each of the last 2 days, gone 0 for 2 in this series. Hitting just 190 for the year. And he pops one up. Rosario going back. Coming in is Nimmo to call him off, and that's the second out. And the runner's hold.
Right. Gotta get those. Gotta get that run in. Boy, it's just that it's so. It happens. You know, I've left runners on at third base.
That's going to be all for Peterson. Jerry Blevins is going to come in. You got the switch hitting Defoe coming up. And then behind him is Eaton. I don't know if they'll pitch to Defoe or walk him and go after the left-hand batter Eaton. We'll see when we come back. Peterson exits. Blevins comes in. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. We'll be right back. Second time in this series.
Well, it's been kind of a disappointing year, a big disappointing year for Jerry thus far. Pitching a little bit better of late, but like we mentioned earlier, his last outing he gave up the bomb to Matt Adams.
To Harper.
Harper, excuse me.
Well, Blevins has backward splits. Defoe's not a great right-hand batter, so he will go after him here with the left-hand batter Eaton on deck. Second and third and 2 out. Defoe today 0 for 2, 1 for 9 in the series. Big batter for Blevins to try and keep the Mets in this game. And Defoe takes a strike. That's now on their 5th pitcher of the day. By the way, I was talking about starters coming in relief the last day before the All-Star break. Carlos Carrasco just came in relief for Cleveland. Hasn't had a relief outing in 4 years. So there you go. It still happens occasionally. And Jerry pours the fastball in for a strike, and it's 0-2.
Fastball away, followed by a fastball in.
Adams at third, Murphy at second, 2 down. Oh, 2 to Defoe. And the curveball couldn't get him to bite. 1-2. Corey Oswald went 5, allowed a run on 2 hits. Seth Lugo a scoreless 6th. But then Swarzak and Peterson finding trouble in the 7th. 2 walks by Swarzak. They've both scored. 2 hits given up by Peterson. And now Blevins trying to get the Mets through this inning without any further damage. One-two to Defoe, and that's right at his feet, and he is hit by the pitch, and that loads the bases. So he will end up facing Eaton with the bases loaded. It's not the way he intended. October. Eaton today is 0 for 3, but 5 for 12 in the series. 0 for 3 in his career against Blevins. Bases loaded, 2 out. And he catches the corner, 0-1. These runs belong to Jeremy Hellickson, who's now out for a pinch hitter. Brandon Kinsler, who's had a really rough go of it for the Nats, is up in their bullpen, ready to pitch the bottom of the 7th. And he takes fastball down, 1-1. And the curveball has him wailing, and it's 1-2.
Well, there's that curveball Jerry's been missing all year against the left hand.
A little later break. Curveball enabled him to dominate lefties all last season. Could use another one right here. Ahead 1-2 on Eaton. And he just got a piece of it and fouled it off. Certainly a lot better look to those last 2 curveballs for Jerry. Of course, there are teams watching who might need a left-handed reliever, a left-handed specialist. Adams, Murphy, and Defoe take their lead. And Eaton is hit by the pitch, and it forces in a run. Blevins hits back-to-back hitters. Adams comes home to score, and it's 4-1 Washington. Can you believe that?
No.
Ahead in the count both times on Defoe and on Eaton. He drills them both.
Fastball in. Oh, man. What a nightmare year for Jerry.
He had only hit 1 batter all season, and now he's hit 2 back-to-back to force in a run. And now Trey Turner will be the 9th man up in the inning. Turner's 0 for 3 today, and a first pitch curveball in for a strike. So a meltdown inning for the Mets bullpen. Swarzak, Peterson, and now Blevins all having a hand. 3 runs have scored, and now the Nats with a chance to break it open with 1 more hit. And Turner fouls it back.
That got Mesoraco big time.
He gets clobbered back there.
Oh, it's a backswing. Is he too close? It's just. Oh. It's just.
That's just awful.
Guys that let go with 1 hand.
Keith, I think we've reached the point. There's got to be some penalty for that.
I don't know. I don't know what to think. I have to give it some. Give me 4 days of the break here. I'll think on it.
I mean, I just don't remember catchers getting hit by follow-throughs in your day like this.
No, definitely not.
You know, for all the concern they have about concussions, and they changed the slide rule at home plate as a result. I mean, you know, Mesoraco got clocked a few days ago and had to come out of a game, and fortunately he passed all the concussion tests, but there's got to be something that prevents hitters from doing this. And again, Mesoraco appears to be well enough to continue.
Remember the days when the catchers caught with just their hat on, or a skull cap?
Yeah, Bob Montgomery, I think, was the last one to wear a hat.
You can't do that today.
Now Blevins ahead on Turner 0-2. And the curveball line left field, base hit. Murphy is in. Right behind him is Defoe. And it's a 5-run inning for the Nats as Turner drives in a pair with a 2-strike, 2-out hit. 6-1 Washington.
Curveball and not enough down break. Well, that's the backbreaker right there, Gare.
So a meltdown inning for the Mets bullpen. The Nats have batted around. 5 runs home, and Juan Soto, who started the whole thing with a walk and a stolen base, comes up again, and now time has been asked for. I think the Nats thought it was a balk on Blevins, but Mesoraco had called time.
Ooh, a lucky number 7 for Washington here.
Eaton now at third, Turner at first, a threat to run, and he goes first pitch. Blevins picks him off. Wilmer hesitates. Turner is out of the baseline, and that's the end of the inning. Everybody hesitated, thinking maybe Eaton was going to make a break for the plate. He never did. Turner runs out of the baseline. It's a caught stealing to end the inning, but it's a 5-run inning for the Nats. They lead 6-1 at the 7th inning stretch.
Fun came back into baseball when the Mets came into town. It was like old times, the early days of baseball, when fans of all ages went to the park to have a good time, to let loose, to make a day of it, to become one with the team, win or lose. If your side won, so much the better. But if your side lost, there's always tomorrow or next year. To Met fans, winning is important, of course, but not out of proportion to the fun of the game.
Who hit that home run, number 17, in 62? You know?
I wasn't watching, sorry.
Okay.
I was concentrating on the fans who look like they're having a great time at the ballpark, just as Lindsay was talking about. If your team wins, that's great. If not, there's always tomorrow or next year.
Next year. Dave, who's number 17 in the 62 Mets?
Brian Goodwin stays in the game in center field after pinch hitting. And Brandon Kinsler will come on to pitch in the bottom of the 7th. Kinsler's first appearance in the series.
Well, there's Kinsler's numbers. As Gary said, it's been a tough year for him, although his numbers aren't really that terrible.
Wilmer Flores leads off the home 7th. Takes the first pitch, slider for a strike.
That was
Wilmer is grounded out and lined out.
That was Choo-Choo Coleman.
Choo-Choo
hitting in the home run around the bay. Little did they know, Met fans in '62, that there would be a 17 down the road.
You know, about
21 years later.
Well,
how about that?
There'd be that one, and then there'd be quite a few more after that. You know the story about Choo-Choo Coleman's first appearance on Kiner's Corner, right?
Tell the story, though, the fans. It's a terrific story.
Well, you know, Ralph was great at interviewing people and getting them to open up. And, you know, he would try and move in directions that allowed the player to, you know, unveil his personality to the public. So it seemed only natural that Ralph, the first question that he asked Choo-Choo Coleman is, so Choo-Choo, how'd you get your nickname? Right? Seems like a reasonable first question.
Right.
Choo-Choo's answer, I don't know.
Okay, where do you go from there?
So from there, he figured, well, okay, let me bring out the personal side of Choo-Choo. And Ralph said, so what's your wife's name? What's she like? To which Choo-Choo gave the immortal reply, her name's Mrs. Coleman and she likes me, bub. I would say that was pretty much the climax of the first Choo-Choo Coleman appearance on Kiner's Corner.
And then back to you, Lindsay.
Well, we'll be back with the highlights after this word from Manufacturers Hanover.
Oh, boy. Well, I remember my first post-game show on Kiner's Corner. Never been in a baseball studio. Remember, the studio was right off the Mets dugout, right, at Shea Stadium on the first base line. So as a visiting player, you had to walk all the way around behind home plate, underneath the stadium, underneath the box seats, past the Mets clubhouse, and then the first door after the Mets clubhouse on the right was Ralph's studio.
Handled by Rendon, and he throws out Wilmer one away.
And you had the 2 cameras set up there, or was it 3? I'm not sure if it was 2 or 3, but they were set up kind of where I was here, the player was here, and Ralph was here, so the camera could hit Ralph here head on, and then this camera could hit the player head on. And they had the monitors up high, and the whole interview I was looking at the monitor because I'd never been on a TV interview before like that. And
you were a little nervous.
And Ralph had the $100 bill, of course, which went a long way back then.
Smoothed things over real nice.
Yes,
sure.
That was the first thing Ralph did, was give you the $100, the Ben Franklin. Nice crisp one.
So you're saying, I think when it started it was $50, right? It was probably $100 by the time you.
$100, and I didn't make it to Kiner's Corner until '76.
So I'm thinking that when Ralph had Choo-Choo on, he had already given him the $50. He couldn't take it back.
Bub.
She likes me, bub.
That's an old term that's gone by the wayside.
1-1 to Mesoraco, who singled and struck out, 1 for 2. And he bounces one to short. Easy play for Turner. 2 out. So Kinsler has come on, gotten 2 ground ball outs. Jeremy Hellickson, fine outing today. 6 innings, 1 run, 2 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, a hit batsman, a wild pitch. Just 73 pitches in 6 innings for Hellickson, who is poised to go to 4-1 on the year. Now Reyes, who had the last Mets hit, he banged one off the wall in right field for a double in the 5th. Got as far as 3rd with 1 out, but did not score, and the game remained tied until the Nats scored their 5 runs in the top of this inning. That's in-game box score, brought to you by Nissan. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Only 2 Met hits. Reyes has the only RBI. That came on a fielder's choice grounder in the second. By the way, the 5 runs the Mets gave up in the top of the 7th. That is the 12th time this season the Mets have given up 5 or more runs in an inning. And just by way of comparison, in their fine season in 2015, they only had that happen 12 times all year. And here they've done it 12 times before the All-Star break. One-two from Kinsler, and he got him looking at a fastball. Side retired. Let's go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 7th against Brandon Kinsler. On to the 8th, 6-1 Washington. Just log on to Pix11.com or download the Pix11 app for mobile devices. This was the play where Asdrubal Cabrera hurt his hand trying to catch an errant pickoff toss from Anthony Swarzak. Stayed in the game at that point, but he's come out now. Ty Kelly will come into play second base to replace him. See where he got hurt, just below the ring finger. So Kelly's at second base. Jacob Rame will take over the pitching as we go to the 8th. Changes are straight up.
They are straight up, so he's in the 9 hole. Okay.
Juan Soto, who led off the 7th inning, leads off the 8th inning. He drew a walk and stole a base, scored the go-ahead run in the 7th. Nat scored 5 runs in that inning, and so Soto will start the next go-round as well. Rame, the 6th Met pitcher of the day. And he pops one inside on the corner. It's 0-2. Rame pitching for the 2nd time in the series. He worked a scoreless inning in the opening game on Thursday night. Ryan Madsen is up in the Nationals bullpen. There's the veteran right-hander. Soto, Rendon, and Adams for the Nats in the 8th. And Rame misses wide, 2-2. Well, the Mets got one strong inning out of the bullpen from Seth Lugo. He worked the 6th. But then Swarzak, Peterson, and Blevins all struggled in the 7th as the Nats rallied for 5 runs. And a soft tapper into the shift. Rosario there to get it. Throws out Soto, 1 away. Out of town scores brought to you by Altice One from Optimum. The Marlins 8 runs in the 5th inning. They beat the Phillies for the 2nd straight day. The Brewers leading the Pirates. That's a change of fortune. Pittsburgh was trying to sweep a 5-game series today after sweeping a doubleheader yesterday.
Did Miami come back? Is that 10 or they shut out? I can't read that scoreboard.
We just gave that score. They scored 8 runs in the 5th inning.
Obviously, you've lost my attention.
Just for a moment. I always like to pull you right back into the thread.
Yeah. It looks like 10 from my view.
It is 10. That's why it says 10, because it's 10. Because they scored 8 in the 5th.
All right. All right, one more, just for my own.
There we go.
Okay, they came back.
Meanwhile, the Cardinals, under interim manager Mike Schultz, have a lead.
We all need 4 days off. I think everybody.
By the way, we mentioned Pittsburgh trying to sweep a 5-game series from Milwaukee. Did you see what happened in that doubleheader yesterday? Something that had only happened twice before in Major League history. As Rendon strikes out for the 2nd out. In the first game for Pittsburgh, Starling Marte and Gregory Polanco hit back-to-back home runs in the 1st inning, and the Pirates won 2-1. In the 2nd game, Marte and Polanco hit back-to-back home runs late in the game, and they won the 2nd game as well. It's only the 3rd time in Major League history that the same players hit back-to-back home runs in both games of a doubleheader, and 2 of the 3 times it was the Pirates. Adams fouls off the first pitch. Frank Thomas and Dick Grote, 1957. And the only other time it happened in Major League history, Sal Bando and Reggie Jackson for the 68 Oakland Athletics.
The Oakland Athletics in '68 were just blossoming. That was Reggie's rookie year, '68. He had the big year his first year. I remember he had 30 home runs, didn't he, his rookie season? In that big ballpark.
I think it was. I'm trying to remember what was the year that he had all those home runs before the All-Star break? He had like 39 before the break.
Look at his rookie year. What do you got?
Rookie year was 67. Well, they only played 35 games.
Right. So this first full year he had a big year.
29. But then in '69 he had 39 before the break, and then he only had 8 the rest of the year at 47.
It's 47 home runs. Wow.
Yeah, that was his 2nd full season, '69.
And then 1 year he had the big beef with Charlie Finley. Remember that he hit a home run. He had an off year. I think it was after that year. He had 47 in '69. And he hit a home run, and Finley was getting on him. He only hit 23 home runs that year, and he hit a home run, and he went up to the press box, and he flipped off Charlie O. I'll never forget it. Monty Moore was calling the game.
Well, he wasn't the only player who ever had a beef with the A's owner.
Yep.
I mean, Charlie was such an eccentric figure who drew a lot of the light toward himself.
Right. They televised the Oakland A's games on channel 44 in the Bay Area. Is that it, Dan? That was what was it called? UHF station or whatever? I forget. But anyway, we're just happy to have the A's on TV.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Rame. He finishes off a 1-2-3 inning, 6-1 Washington in the 8th. The All-Star break is mere moments away.
It is.
Lots to do in that town.
Oh, look at that city. All kinds of building going on in there.
I hear you took advantage of some of the gastronomic pleasures that that island has to offer.
There's so many great restaurants, and one of my favorites is Gotham Bar and Grill, 12 East 12th Street. That's been around since the 80s and hasn't skipped a beat. Just phenomenal.
You've been around here since the 80s too.
Yeah.
Ryan Madsen pitching the 8th inning.
So, had a lovely dinner there, just off 5th Avenue, just east of 5th Avenue. Phenomenal.
Rosario 0 for 2 today.
I had a, what did they call it? A Blanco Manhattan to open my evening.
It's like vanilla bourbon. Fly out to right field, and Eaton goes back and twists around to get it. Wow.
It was Michter bourbon, a special kind of vermouth that's not as pungent, and I can't think of the name of it, but I wrote it down because I loved it. And orange bitters, and a peel of I can't think of it, doggone it. Anyway, it was, I had it up. Hot night. It was so refreshing just to sip it.
I would have thought you would have gone with the rocks on a warm night, Keith, as Matt Dendecker pinch hits.
Well, no, when it's chilled, it's,
so it was shaken.
I don't like when it gets watered down.
I see. So you get that chill from the shaking, but not the ice in the flask.
It was a spectacular, very nice, refreshing drink. Just one.
1-1 to Dendecker with Brandon Nimmo on deck. And there's the good changeup by Madsen. He gets ahead 1-2. 37 years old, and he's been throwing that dastardly changeup for more than a decade. I'll always associate Ryan Madsen, though, with that 16-inning game the Mets played with the Phillies. Remember that?
Yes.
Back in '06. They took him out of the starting rotation, put him in the bullpen. He came on in the 9th inning and pitched 7 brilliant innings in relief. And strikes out Dendecker, and then Beltran took him deep in the 16th.
Well, I just I don't remember that, but I just remember him, all those battles against the Phillies. He was always a big part of it.
Well, look who's up in the bullpen. Speaking of starting pitchers, the last day before the All-Star break, Gio Gonzalez is loosening. Just getting work in, or is he getting ready to come in? Brandon Nimmo is 0 for 3 today. And right now, Brandon looks like he could use the All-Star break. He's at a rough homestand. 7 for 39 in the 11 games on the homestand.
He's got to get back on that line drive train.
Brandon has seen his average shrink to 253. On base percentage 371, down from where it was. And Madsen misses with a sinker, 2-1. Still throwing hard at age 37. He missed a 3-year period along the way where he was out of the game, came back, and as good as ever. Now behind Nimmo, 3-1. Ty Kelly on deck. He took over for Cabrera at second base. Another one of these lackluster offensive days for the Mets, of which there have been far too many. Just 2 hits this afternoon. A single by Mesoraco in the second, a double by Reyes in the fifth, and that's been it. Mets have already been held to 2 hits twice on this homestand. 3-2 coming, and Nimmo takes a walk. So the Mets have a 2-out base runner. Shouldn't say Nimmo takes a walk, because when he walks, he takes a run, or at least a hard jog.
You remember Pete Rose when he took a walk?
That's why they called him Charlie Hustle.
That's right.
Here's Ty Kelly up for the first time. Got his first base hit of the season in yesterday's game, a pinch hit single. Defoe handles the ground ball, and the Mets are done in the bottom of the 8th. Madsen pitches a scoreless inning, 6-1 going to the 9th. Spectrum TV the way you want it. Tie game, 7th inning. Daniel Murphy pinch hitting, base hit, 2 runs. Nats lead.
Well, who else would it be?
Of course. Been tormenting this team for 3 years since he left. Nice way to get some shade. Just kind of keeps people at their distance, though. Tyler Bachelor comes on to pitch the top of the 9th for New York.
There's Bachelor's numbers, just recently called up, 4 games.
Last pitch Tuesday night against the Phillies, worked 2 1/3, allowed a run on 3 hits. Mark Reynolds pinch hitting for the Nats as we go to the 9th. Reynolds started the first game of this series. Went 0 for 5 with a couple of strikeouts. And it's hit toward the hole, and Reynolds has himself a base hit. So another successful pinch hitting assignment for the Nationals.
Nice bench work today. That's what happens when you have a veteran bench.
Don't see too many of those anymore.
No.
Now Matt Wieters, who surprisingly sacrificed in the midst of the Nationals' 5-run 7th inning, his first sacrifice since 2016. He will not be bunting here. And He takes up and away from Bachelor, ball one. Bachelor, the 7th Mets pitcher of the day. It's the most they've used in a 9-inning game this season. He used 8 in an extra inning game, but this is the most in a regulation affair, which we assume it will be, but you can't be sure. Ball and a strike to Wieters. But that all goes back to Corey Oswalt being pulled after 5 innings and 59 pitches. So the Mets had to go to their bullpen early and ultimately unsuccessfully. Kelvin Herrera is up in the Nats bullpen, so it looks like Gio Gonzalez was not pitching in the bullpen to come in the game, but rather just getting some work in before the All-Star break, since he had not started since Wednesday. So there's Herrera, who looks like he'll be asked to finish up for the Nats. They're without their closer right now, Sean Doolittle. He's on the disabled list, which will cost him a berth in the All-Star game. Nats had 3 players selected: Scherzer, Harper, and Doolittle. Of course, the All-Star game is going to be in D.C. on Tuesday night. Playing the Futures game there today. In fact, that game's going now. The Mets have a couple players in the Futures game today. Peter Alonso for the U.S. team and Andres Jimenez for the World team. Futures game today, Home Run Derby tomorrow, All-Star game on Tuesday. Lots of activity around D.C. Bachelor's 2-2, and he pops him inside. Full count to Wieters. Brian Goodwin waiting on deck. And Wieters pops one up. Reyes into foul ground, has room, and puts it away. Long way to go for Reyes. That's the first out of the inning. So 1 out and 1 on. Now Brian Goodwin, who pinch hit in the 7th and flied out, stayed in the game in center field. Fastball up and away for ball one. Well, the Braves finally beat the Diamondbacks today, and the Phillies lost, so the Phillies will go to the All-Star break with just a half-game lead over Atlanta in the NL East. It's a good changeup by Bachelor, and it's 1-1. Fastball fouled away. With the Diamondbacks losing, that means the Dodgers have a chance to take over the NL West lead at the break. They're playing the Angels, that game just starting. After the Angels beat them last night. Grounded in the hole, and Goodwin's got a base hit. Reynolds pulls in at second, and so the Nats have 2 men on in the 9th. That's their 8th hit of the game. In the Central, the Cubs started the day a game and a half ahead of the Brewers. Brewers are up 5-3 on the Pirates in the 9th, and the Cubs just put up 3 runs in the first inning in San Diego. AL East, Red Sox won today, Yankees lost, so the Red Sox take a 4.5 game lead into the break. Here's Defoe with 2 aboard, and he takes the fastball down for ball one. Defoe was hit by a pitch in the 7th. The first of 2 hit by pitches by Jerry Blevins, the second of which drove in a run. Reynolds at second, Goodwin at first with 1 out. Defoe a wild cut of the 98-mile-an-hour fastball, 1-1. Cleveland 1, Minnesota trails. If that stands up, the Indians will have the 8.5-game lead in the AL Central at the All-Star break. By far the largest in any division. Mr. Rocket tells Bachelor, calm down.
Kansas City's going to lose today, and they're going to finish with only 27 wins in the first half, and that's a lot more games too. 27 and 68. They're losing 10-0 in the 8th.
Baltimore has a chance for their 28th win today. They're up 6-5 in the 9th.
I mean, is that a pace to beat the 62 Mets?
No.
Nope.
The Mets were 80 games under 500. Think about that.
What was their winning percentage? They were 40.
250. Right? It was 40 and 120. 250.
That's right. That's right.
So if Kansas City loses today, they'll be 27 and 68. That's a pace for 46 wins. There's ball 4 and Defoe is on and the bases are loaded, so Bachelor really struggling here. 2 hits and now a walk, and really having trouble throwing anything consistently for a strike. So Adam Eaton will get a crack with the bases loaded and 1 out. Eaton is 0 for 3. He also drove in a run when he was hit by a pitch in the 7th. 46 and 116 though. That's not good. Tight with a slider, ball 1. The 2003 Tigers lost 119. They've been closest to catching the 62.
How many did they win in a row late to prevent that?
They won what, 5 in a row in the last week of the season to avoid the to avoid the comparison.
And
Dave Allen trudging out to the mound to talk to Bachelor, who's just really looking raw.
we haven't seen this from Bachelor. Bachelor's been a guy that's come in and thrown strikes. You got to come in now. Bases loaded, 2-0.
Bachelor, a guy who came to the big leagues directly out of Double-A earlier this year. He's never pitched at Triple-A. Bases loaded, 1 out behind 2-0 on Eaton with Trey Turner on deck.
Oh boy.
And 3-0. There's nobody up behind him in the Mets bullpen. That's need for Bachelor to finish this inning one way or another. So he might as well throw a strike. And there's one. Crowd appreciative. Reynolds at third, Goodwin at second, Defoe at first with 1 out. And Eaton might have chased ball 4 as he pops one up into shallow left. Conforto comes in to get it. Reynolds is not going to bother going anywhere, and that's the 2nd out.
All right, you might get out of this.
So 2 out, bases loaded, and now Turner, who drove in a pair of runs against Blevins in the 7th to knock the doors off this game. 1 for 4 on the day, 3 for 14 in the series. Bachelor, after loading the bases with 2 hits and a walk, trying to find his way clear. And Turner takes the curveball out of the strike zone, ball 1. Keith, the Mets are down to 2 mound visits.
Oh.
I believe that matches a season low.
Another ball hit close. How about that? To our right again. Same spot.
Now I know for a fact that somewhere in this booth you have a glove. Now that they're starting to hit balls closer, are you considering bringing it to the front row with you?
No, you saw that first baseman glove. It hasn't even been broken in. It's my last glove I had my last year with Cleveland, and it's kind of shrunk. It's been in the closet. It gets a little bit of humidity and it's a little tiny, but the beauty of it is it's like concrete, and this is how I always like to get my gloves.
Fly ball deep left field. Conforto back, has room on the warning track and puts it away to retire the side. Bachelor strands the bases loaded. Keith had no use for his glove that inning.
Look at this. Yeah. Thing of beauty.
Well, especially with your right-hander.
The heart of the hide.
Down 6-1, and Kelvin Herrera comes on to try and finish it off for the Nats.
Well, Herrera has pitched in this series, and he had a real rough time of it, if I recall the first game. And he came in the 8th inning for Scherzer and almost coughed it up. He went 1 inning, gave up a home run to Cabrera, walked 2 batters, but got out of it.
Jose Bautista leads off the last of the 9th, 0 for 3 today, and takes a knee-high fastball for a strike.
Acquired from Kansas City.
He's been with the Nats for about a month, and he's been an important piece for them, even though he has not really pitched up to the level that he did for Kansas City. It's been a struggle for him since coming over to the National League. But with Doolittle on the sidelines, he is the closer of the moment for the Nats. Bautista, Conforto, and Flores for the Mets in the last of the 9th. And Bautista takes the curveball for a strike, 1-2. Coming up next on Pix 11, it's the Pix 11 News.
Oh.
And on SNY, it's WB Mason postgame live. Bounce down to third. It's a foul ball. We will reconvene on Friday night from Yankee Stadium on SNY with Noah Syndergaard opening the second half for the Mets against Domingo Germán and the Yankees.
Germán beat the Mets earlier this year, did he not? Didn't he pitch a game in the first series here? thought it was the first game of the series.
We're checking the record to confirm your suspicions.
I think he beat the Mets. No? Come on, Dave, snap it up.
Dave's been away from us for 10 days watching Summer League basketball. I think he's a little fried, and Bautista goes down in a heap getting away from that fastball.
Well,
I don't think he was intending to go down. He just lost his balance. But it was pretty dramatic. 3-2 coming. And he lines one into left field. And it's trapped by Soto. And Bautista has a base hit. Well, that's how you get your revenge after a pitch that knocks you down.
Absolutely. Nice effort by Soto here. And a good pick.
So the Mets have just their third hit of the day. And now Michael Conforto walked and scored the only Mets run in the second. Since then he struck out and grounded into a double play. So you are correct that Herman started against the Mets.
Beat him.
And the Yankees won, but he got a no decision.
That's right. I knew he pitched. He didn't pitch that badly, if I recall.
But it's been a struggle for him. He's really had a tough go. Fly ball left field. Soto going back onto the warning track at the wall. He makes the catch. Conforto almost got it out the other way. But just enough ballpark for Soto to make the play. 1 out.
358. That's 10 feet closer than Wrigley in the gap.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Wilmer Flores has gone 0 for 3 today. Grounded out twice and lined to center. Bautista at first with 1 out, and Wilmer grounds one in the hole. Turner on the back end. The jump throw to first is in time. No, it came off the bag. It got there, but Adams pulled his foot off the bag, and Flores will get credit for an infield hit. It was quite a play by Turner to get it there in time.
Why would he not try to get the force?
I think he thought he had a play. But Wilmer would have been out had Adams stayed on the bag.
Yes, he is off the bag.
And Davey Martinez will not challenge the call.
Every time I hear those cowbells, I think of Mississippi Queen.
Do. Here's Devin Mesoraco. Mountain, right?
Yeah, Mountain. Was it Leslie? I can't think of it. Leslie West.
Right.
I actually met Leslie West at the China Club one night back in the late 80s. He had that big old red hair.
Mesoraco to center, and Goodwin reels it in, and that's the second out.
He's a baseball fan. Interesting.
So the Mets are down to their final out of the afternoon, and here's Reyes, who's driven in the only run and delivered the Mets' only extra base hit. It was a double back in the 5th. Mets last year were 39 and 47 at the All-Star break. They've got the 39 wins this year, but if they don't rally here, they'll have 55 losses. All-Star games a little later, so every team's playing more games before the break than in most years past. Too high to Reyes, a ball and a strike. By the way, the Pirates tied up that game with the Brewers 5-5 going to the 10th, so they still have a chance for that 5-game sweep. Slider misses outside, 2-1.
Did they take the lead, Gary? 6-5, the Brewers in the top?
Yes, they did.
I read that better that time. Thank you.
Good job. And now the Mets are down to their final strike. Two on, two out, 2-2 to Reyes. And he slaps one the other way for a base hit. Bautista to third. He'll be held there, and the Mets have the bases loaded. Well, the Mets are alive. 3 hits in the 9th inning. They need just one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate.
High fastball.
Second hit of the day for Reyes. And now Ahmed Rosario will try and keep it going. Rosario's 0 for 3 today. Let's only have one player left on their bench. That's Kevin Plawecki. He's out on deck to pinch hit. And the curveball from Herrera stays inside, ball 1. So Bautista, Flores, and Reyes all with base hits here in the 9th. Trying to keep hope alive. And Rosario pops one up. Adams racing into foul ground, has room, and that'll do it. The Nationals gain a split of the 4-game series. That makes 16 consecutive series that the Mets have failed to win. And the Mets go to the All-Star break at 39-55 after the Mets bullpen melted down in the 7th, and the Nats scored 5 for a 6-1 win.
Well, I think everybody needs a little respite here. 4 days, used to be 3. I think the 4th day actually is much better. Tough first half for the Mets, of course. They open up with Syndergaard at Yankee Stadium. That's something to look forward to. And Gary, you have a lovely 4 days off.
You too, Keith. This game was really a microcosm of the Mets' entire first half. Good starting pitching, no offense, bad bullpen. Game summary brought to you by Nissan. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Corey Oswalt pitched very well for the 2nd straight start, but he came out of the game, and the Nats win it against the Mets bullpen. They go to the All-Star break at 500 for the season as the Nats win 6-1. More from Citi Field coming up.